Hi, this is Nicole from the Write Habit podcast, and today I'm joined by someone very dear to me and dear to the Write Habit community, Dr. Verena Hutter. She is an academic, she is a writer, she's an author, she's also an editor, and she's starting her own business to support other writers. And I'm super excited to talk to her about her own journey, about her books, about her mission in the world, and what shifted for her because she's also an alumni of the 90-day Write Habit Accelerator. And I want to see what changed for her when she came into the coaching with me. Hi, Verena. So nice to see you.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
Of course, I'm really excited. I haven't talked to you in a few weeks. I'm not used to not talking
True.
to you. We've been coaching for quite a while now. Verena, maybe let's start simple. In your own words, just tell me, what
Mhm.
kind of work do you do? What really lights you up in the writing world?
I wear many hats. I started actually out with like little creative writing, auto fiction, and all of that. And then I became an academic and everything became more serious. And these days I do a little bit of everything. I have a blog about chronic illness. I have also written for online magazines, cultural analyses of things. Like I wrote about the German dirndl outfit at Oktoberfest, for example, and its cultural significance. It was very fun. And then in my academic work, I write about memory practices and especially memory practices that are written and experienced on the body. I focus on tattoos.
Do you have your own tattoos? It's a very cheeky question.
I do, yes.
Okay, okay,
I,
okay.
I, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it comes with the territory. Yes.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense that you have your own tattoos and you do research and on tattoos. And of course, I know what's in your book, but the readers don't know. So I
Mhm.
wonder, especially the last book you've been writing and that you've
Mhm.
just finished, if you just want to tell us a little bit about what's the topic and what really drew you in. Like, why did you feel like this is what I want to spend months or even years on?
So the last book that I wrote wasn't years. I mean, I always joke that I kind of wrote it to procrastinate writing my academic book. But so it's called This is a Book for People Who Love Tattoos. And it is about specifically those very classic maritime tattoos and their history. It's more like a coffee table book. It has pictures and fun little stories, and it is less an academic analysis. And then my academic book is about Germany specifically because that's my home discipline is German studies. And so it is how this idea that power is inscribed on bodies is taken to a literal degree in tattoos, and this tension between voluntary or forced writing on the body is something that I am interested in. Yeah.
And is the book submitted?
It is with the editor at the press. I don't have the contract yet, but fingers crossed. Yes.
Okay, awesome. Just like checking. Someone told me in my last podcast interview they accidentally wrote a book and submitted it. It was accepted, and I asked where it was accepted. And then they didn't want to say because the contract wasn't signed. And so
Yeah,
that
yeah,
might
yeah.
be the case here as well. Okay, awesome.
Mhm.
What
Yeah.
got you into wanting to write books about tattoos?
It was something that at the time when I was interested in it, not a lot of people were. And I've always been of the opinion, how in academia sometimes pop culture or things that people like get a little bit poo-pooed as lowbrow or something like that. And I always think that those are the things we should especially focus on because they may tell us more than we think they do for some reason. And especially in Germany, there is this association with criminality that was still alive and well when I started over 10 years ago. It has decreased by now, thankfully, but I am interested in how like these myths continue and how they are actually deeper than we think they are.
I like that. Things that others don't want to look at, things that are poo-pooed on. And you're just like, okay,
Yeah,
that's the one
yeah.
I'm
I,
taking.
I, I don't think that the trivial is ever trivial. So Yeah.
The trivial is never trivial. I love that. Okay, awesome. That's a really good mission in the world. I'm going to take the trivial, I'm going to make it interesting, I'm going to put it in a book.
Well,
I
I
love that.
hope it's interesting to someone else but me, but at the same time, I'm also at a point in my life where I feel that me being interested in it is enough. My claim for significance is that I'm interested in it.
That's really empowered. If you don't have an intrinsic, deep urge to research something or to write that story, then what is the point if you're just doing it for someone somewhere? Because I've seen it so many times as a coach, it can just
Yeah.
become this monster that you have to force it because you're not deeply connected to it, and you are deeply connected.
I have to say, in my first year in graduate school, and it may even have been the first month, I chatted to someone who was working in the same building as I did. And they said to me, they said, whatever dissertation topic you pick, make sure this is something that you want to engage with for years. The dissertation topic may stay longer with you than your partner.
And is that true for you?
No, my partner's still around, but I have seen exactly that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so alongside all of the writing that you do, of
Mhm.
course, you've gone through your own transformation in how you write, and you've written in all these different genres. How did you think about starting your own business around writing? Because as an academic, technically, you are
Mhm.
already, you do have a job. So technically, you don't need to put on another one, more work.
Mhm. Yeah.
But something must have driven you. Just tell me a little bit more the decision when you said, okay, I want to do more. I want to support other writers. When did that happen, and what is it that you do at the moment?
So I'm not a full-term academic. I am what in the United States is called adjunct. So I'm part-time. And so I started working as a freelance editor to supplement my income. It has also really, really provided me joy helping people find their voice or polish their voice. Most people have their voice, but polish it so that it has the gravity necessary in the publishing world and actually say what they need to say. Because I think that there are all of these myths around writing, right? As in, you're sitting at your computer and the muse kisses you and you're writing away and I don't know, outside the moon is shining and whatnot. And it's rarely ever like that. You have these moments, and power to everyone who has them all the time. But for most of us, it's not like that. And then we think something is wrong with us. And rarely does anyone ever say no. It is hard, and sometimes it really is a job, and you need to do the job. And whether you like writing introductions or not, like that is something I don't like, you have to do it, right? I like helping people, making them familiarizing them with genres, expressions, how things flow. Sometimes even just finding the right journal, finding the right home for what you're writing. Because you're also told, oh, these are the 3 important journals in your field, and they have the impact factor. And then you rewrite 500 times just to fit into that mold, when there could have been a journal that would have loved publishing what you're writing. And so, yeah, that is something that I feel very strongly about.
Yeah, there are a lot of fears in writing that is not going to be received by the right people in the right places, that you're going to do it wrong or say it wrong, or, you get rejected, and that gives you such a blow. And then you're supposed to make it better and send it elsewhere. But in between, you still also have to deal with the emotion of
Yes.
being told it's not good enough. I mean, I've
Mhm.
experienced that myself as an academic, and also with my poetry, that, I had
Mhm.
52 rejections one year. And
Yeah.
then I decided not to submit my poetry for another year because I just couldn't face it anymore. I couldn't even write poetry anymore because I had already the critic in my head talking to
Mhm.
me while I was writing.
Yeah.
Verena, tell me, what do you do in your offerings at the moment?
I have done freelance editing for a good 10 years, and that was usually someone recommended me to someone, and it worked out really nicely. But I think I will finally work on my website. And then the other thing that I have been feeling strongly about is providing actual spaces to write. I like traveling, I like nice places, and I like learning and writing and reading. And so to combine that and give people the opportunity to be in a beautiful space away from the daily grind and everything that is going on, and to be able to take a breath, step back, journal a little bit, and then come to your project and give it the time and energy that it deserves. And hopefully take something from that with you back to your day-to-day activities.
Yeah, I think we're all craving that
Yes.
magical retreat. Tell me, I remember you told me at some point you've been to a really impactful retreat in a cloister or something like that.
Yes, it was a
What was it
Benedictine
about that
monastery.
that was
Yeah.
interesting to you or helpful?
So there was a personal component too, because I actually went to a Benedictine high school in Germany, and so I was familiar with how they structure their day, and so a little bit of it was like coming home, but at the same time, it's about an hour outside of Portland, Oregon, and it is just away from everything. It's on a hill. It is surrounded by nature, so my bird app was going crazy too. And yeah, to just not have to think about what do I do next? Where's my to-do list? Having beautiful meals catered to you. And then in the evening, there was this community with other writers that I found deeply meaningful. And those were all people from the university that I work at, but most of them I had never met because, as you know, you're in a different department, you're in your part of campus, you maybe have seen them around at a Senate meeting or something, but you don't know them. You don't know what makes them spark and all of those things. So I thought that that was something that I want to provide more of.
Especially the spaces where the writers can talk to each other. I hear it all the time. I coach any kind of writer, but especially academics, and
Yeah.
they tell me all the time they don't really talk to their colleagues other than, over a quick cup of coffee in the kitchen in between student meetings. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I still haven't submitted my paper. But like a deeper conversation where you get to the root of what is holding you back. There isn't this deeper space that is for writing. And then just being honest about
Yeah.
what's working and what isn't can
Yeah.
unlock a lot of issues that you carry around sometimes for weeks or months or longer.
Well, I mean, that was also something that I really enjoyed about the 90-day program, even though with the time difference, the weekly coachings were really early in the morning for me. So I don't think I participated vocally, but it was just nice even to be online in a space and hear other people about their breakthroughs or their struggles, and then really to just to support each other. I remember there was one time where someone was talking about how she felt torn between being able to take care of her kids or doing the research that needs to be doing to financially support these kids, right? And someone else in the group who was further along their career and had grown children jumped in and said, look, my kids actually really admired that I was this working mom. And that just stuck with me. This person who probably would have never met this other person being able to share their life experience and hopefully cheer her up and lift her up.
I remember that exact moment. And I also have young children. And
Yeah.
I also really benefited from, someone who is in the game for longer.
Mhm.
Everybody in the room who has
Yeah.
caring obligations, doesn't matter if it's parents or a pet or children, just felt like, okay, we could all take a collective breath and
Yeah.
feel like it's going to be okay. And
Mhm.
that was really beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, Verena, you are, of course, an expert in editing and you've already published, and yet you
Mhm.
still signed up for the Write Habit
Yeah.
Accelerator. And so I wonder if you could share a little bit why you decided to make
Mhm.
that decision. Maybe something held you back and you thought, oh, I'm not sure, because it is an investment, of course.
Yeah.
But something made you come into the program. Just tell me a little bit about that time.
I think part of it was really I was listening to an interview with one of my favorite writers. Her name is Jane Harper. She's an Australian crime writer. But one of the things that she recommended, she said, you know, if you feel like you don't know it all, but you want to write, there's nothing holding you back about taking a course. And she said she took a writing course. And, you know, now she's like 4, 5, 6 books later. And I thought that was such a freeing advice because I have a whole library about writing, what holds you back, writer's block, all of those things. And I listen to podcasts and I've been reading your posts on Medium, and it's one thing to read and know it, it's another thing to do it in community with other people. The other thing was really that like I said, I'm not a career academic, so I don't have this deadline for my book, and that has been an issue. And I had been struggling with, why do I really want to finish this? Nobody cares if I do it or not. And so I signed up for the discovery call. And in the discovery call, you were saying, well, what if you don't see it as an end to something, but as a door or a bridge to something new? And that was really the catalyst for me, that I thought, you know what, maybe this is a different type of journey than I thought it would be. And so I signed up.
Yeah, I totally understand. I mean, I'm writing my own books and I struggle from all the same things. And I also have my own, books about productivity and my own planning
Yeah,
as well. And
yeah.
yet, sometimes you just need to be held in a structure or in a framework and
Mhm.
be able to sort
Yeah.
of just open up and reconnect. Why am I writing this book? What is
Mhm.
it doing for me?
Yeah.
What is the bigger mission here? Because yes, you need, especially as an academic, you need publications, you want to get promoted, or if for me as a coach and businesswoman, I want to find new clients, help others with my books. And yet it has to come, there needs to be a deep connection with the book. This is actually how almost all my discovery calls are going at the moment, reconnecting the writer
Yeah.
back to the
Mhm.
book or the article, even if they don't
Yeah.
sign up for the coaching later on, but just that moment, that shift. And I
Mhm.
can see it in a writer when they've lost
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
when the spark is back, that, I
Mhm.
mean, I don't know if that'll take you all the way through. That alone, probably not. Need more strategies, right? But that
Mhm.
is such an important moment. And yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think that's going to help a
Yeah.
lot of people who aren't quite sure what they would get.
Yeah.
Once you were in the program, you already mentioned
Mhm.
there were, writers from different stages, different
Mhm.
countries. What do you feel when you look back helped you the most? Because, there's a lot of stuff in there,
Mhm.
trainings and co-writing and coaching.
Yeah.
Is there like a tool or something that you feel like, oh, these one or two things, they really helped me push it forward?
So one of it was the Write Habit Planner, and this sitting down and looking at your calendar and thinking about, I think it was 4 hours that you said we should plan as a full day of writing, and I had never thought of that. And it's really mind-boggling, because it's one thing to say, oh yeah, I have 6 months left, I will bang out 3 chapters in that time or so. But if you're teaching several courses, if you have care obligations, if you dare to have a hobby, or in my case, with chronic illness, there are just days that I know where I will not be productive. then that looks very differently. And just to adjust your expectations, that has definitely been a big shift. And I do think that that is something that everyone can learn from, to actually sit down and do it. And we did it in the coaching as a group. And so I also liked this feeling of not being alone in, oh, I completely miscalculated my time. And so I think that was a practical aspect that I really liked. I have been connected with a wonderful writing partner that I'm still meeting with, so I'm very grateful for that. And I would have never met this person otherwise. I think the other thing that I enjoyed was this giving yourself this freedom to try out new things. Because I think, with the exception of one person, everyone had already written their dissertation. So a lot of people were actually fairly accomplished, and they had to figure out that, what served them at one point in their lives, either when they were writing the dissertation or when they were early career or mid-career, was not serving them for one reason or another, or that they went back to rediscover what served them in the beginning and not. And so I enjoyed giving yourself permission to play and try out different things.
Yeah, I really like what you're saying here, because there are, of course, so many tips and strategies and hacks and tools and frameworks and systems and,
Yeah.
habits. And all of these, of course, it's good to have them all sort of in one container, which is what I
Yeah.
do. But then it does have to be tailored. This is why the coaching
Yeah.
helps. Otherwise, I could have just published the 90-day accelerator
Yeah.
as a book, which I
Yeah.
tried, and I ended up not doing it because I just felt like it's just going to be a prescriptive, fixed
Mhm.
recipe that's not going to work for half the
Yeah.
people, or it's going to work for them before they
Mhm.
have kids, then they have a
Yeah.
baby, it's not going to work anymore, and then they throw the book out. But in a
Yeah.
coaching situation, right, you adjust
Mhm.
what works in term time, outside of term time. And I think
Yeah.
this is the hardest thing for writers, to accept that there isn't one way for
Yeah.
everybody, but also there isn't one way for them. I personally also had to throw out my whole writing system during the summer holidays. Of course,
Yeah.
the kids are home, and I honestly hardly left the house. I had not a lot of
Yeah.
childcare. And I still managed, and I, shifted my writing into the times when they were either sleeping or happy on their iPads. And
Yeah.
then I had to almost train myself to be able to write in the
Mhm.
evening, although I'm a morning person. And this constant reflection and adjustment, and seeing
Mhm.
other people do it too, speaking sort of like a similar language of things you've learned, but
Yeah.
adjusting and supporting each other in this process, I feel that
Mhm.
is hard to get when you're just sitting with yourself and thinking, why isn't this working? What am I doing wrong? It's just, that is just
Yeah.
going to spiral
Yeah, no,
downwards.
I agree. And I also think that you so easily get into this headspace, or at least I do, where I look around and I see only successful people, and I dim my own light, and I think about the things that I haven't done instead of what I have done. And so I do think that that is also something that I enjoyed, and now have trained myself too, in the coaching sessions, where we always shared our wins for the week. And I remember in the beginning, I thought, I don't know what my win is, but there is always one. Yeah. Unless you didn't do anything. And if you really didn't do anything, then there's usually a good reason.
Yeah. So if you look back at last week, it's a
Mhm.
Monday as we are recording this, right? If you look at last week, not trying to coach you now, but I just wanted to know, as an example, if you look back at your
Uh-huh.
last week, I have no idea if it was sorry, we did not rehearse
Yeah,
this, but if maybe
that's
it was super
okay.
productive or it was like an awful week. But sort of, what would have been an example of a win that you would have had last week, or maybe a learning point if it wasn't like an extra amazing win?
Last week I actually returned from a month in Germany. But I would say that coming back this way always is worse than jet lag wise than going east. So I would say I still managed to prepare my syllabi for this week. I start teaching tomorrow, and I did edits on a chapter that I had received back from my editor, so maybe not as much as I wanted to in an ideal world, but I'm still happy that I did what I did. Yeah.
Awesome. And that's exactly like that satisfaction of
Mhm.
even a small win. I don't think it's a small win in a week to but where you have traveled and across the ocean and you still, there has been editing, there has been prep, and you are ready for your teaching tomorrow. That's not a small win. But even if there was a small win, just bringing it
Mhm.
to your attention and seeing it for what it is, just that
Mhm.
positive feeling that I feel in my body now that you said that, because
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you that you did that, and it's amazing. That is something we don't tend to do when we're just sitting there by ourselves and no one, helps us see
Mhm.
how good that feels and how what a
Yeah.
huge impact that has on motivation, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since you finished the program, it's been a while and we've also been
Mhm.
coaching before that. Do you feel like something has changed for you, how you see yourself as a writer? And then maybe attached to that, I wonder if something has influenced how you are building your business now? Because that's what I'm extra curious about.
I think it's the connection to, or you would always call it alignment in our sessions, but as in what do I want to do? How do I want to do this? Is this feasible? And also just focusing on the task at hand and not on all the things that could go wrong, as in will I not ever have clients, or will I get overwhelmed, or will I hate how the website looks in 2 months or something like that, as in why don't we focus on what's at hand? What do I want to do? Let's think about how we can make life easier for our future self and get away a little bit from the doom and gloom that I'm probably also culturally primed for as a German, but
I hear you. We're having this conversation in English, of course, because the podcast is in English, but we could have
yes.
also talked in German. I find that really interesting what you say, because I actually found that a lot of academics are entrepreneurial minded. They
Mhm.
may not all want to open a writing retreat business or an editing
Yeah.
business, but they are curious about the world and they know that outside of the ivory tower, there is, an impact to be made in different ways,
Yeah.
be it writing for impact or, teaching outside of the academy. And
Mhm.
so I do find that things that tend to block us in the writing tend to
Mhm.
be also things that could block us in building a business or a side hustle or a consultancy, and actually
Yeah.
also in how I personally, run my relationships, how I set my boundaries, how I explain to my kids that I'm working and the door is closed, unless
Yeah.
someone is bleeding. And so
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the tools that I had to apply as a writer and overcome those
Mhm.
fears and the resistance and all that stuff, I
Mhm.
apply it. I'm now, not an academic anymore. I'm still a writer, but I'm also mostly a businesswoman. I need those same tools. It's basically it's life skills that are applied to
Mhm.
writing, and now to business for you. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to echo, it makes so much sense what you just said. So, if there was someone who is on the fence about joining the 90-day program, because you've been in it, you've seen it, you know what it can give you, what would you say to someone who is undecided and who isn't quite sure? How could they make a good decision for themselves?
Well, I would definitely say do the discovery call first of all, because I think that was really what did make in the end make the decision for me, because I think it's a lot of these programs hinge on the coaching style and the person who's running the program, and I have done other programs, and so for some people other coaches may have been better, but I specifically knew that I was not looking for pull yourself up by the bootstraps boot camp type of person or something like that. And so I think that was a big decision maker for me, but I also do think that it was wonderful, especially since fall semester with the holidays and everything at the end. So many things can get off the rails. And to have a structure to help you through that time where I knew that, oh, even though it is Thanksgiving in the United States, I have a coaching call tomorrow. Or even though, yes, finals are coming, I'm meeting with my writing partner. All of those things really provided structure and guidance for me.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that will really help a lot of people to even just book a call and then see if it's for them. And
Yeah.
that's really all you need. Need with a coaching. It's not like a book, right? With a coaching situation, you want to get a feel for how someone is, and if you can, open up in that space, and if you can feel safe and seen and heard, because all of that is the absolute basis for then,
Yeah.
actually starting to write.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I always I say that to my editing clients when I return their edits, that I'm grateful for sharing this, because I know that sharing your writing or talking about your writing or admitting that at this point in your journey you're a little stuck and could benefit from some guidance is vulnerability, and that is not something that we're good at admitting as academics, right? So I do think that, yeah, I want to encourage everyone to do the discovery call, even if it may feel hard.
Verena, what's your next step? Do you have a retreat coming up? Do you have open editing slots? How can people get in touch with you if they like what you're saying and they want to get your support?
So I am working on the website, and I kind of want to have that up and running in about 4 weeks. And then I will have probably a few editing slots. I try to guard my time a little bit because I'm also expecting edits for me from my editor for the book. Um, I do want to organize an online writing retreat in November, just a Saturday afternoon or something like that. And then hopefully, I have been working on organizing a writing retreat in Salzburg, Austria for next summer. So there will be updates on the website.
So, well, you have a timeline now because
Mhm.
I'm going to ask you for that website. As soon as it's there, I'm going to insert it into the show note for the
Yay.
podcast and anyone who listens, because podcasts, are evergreen. So they will listen to it at some point. Someone will find it and then they're going to click on it and find you and your wonderful editing and retreat services. Thank you so much. And Verena,
Thank
thank you so
you.
much for opening up and being vulnerable about the struggles one can have, even when you're a professional editor. Still, these struggles come our way with our own
Mhm.
books. It's been really lovely to see you again and to talk to you. And
Great.
yeah, thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you.